that dream is green. And I don't mean material things. Come to the land, child, woman, and man, as we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more feeling, telling me beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I wasn't part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. Oh, and if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising, yeah.
Shalom, shalom, lekulam. Shalom, shalom. I'm Princess Amuna or Nasika Amuna, and I have my lovely co-host here and sister.
Shalom, shalom. Yasmin Shamar of Bayit Shamar. Shalom, shalom, lekulam.
Pray everyone is doing well today. I hope you all like our little setup. You know, this is something that we put together, of course, that goes way, way back years ago, Fab Sisters. So I was Big Fab and my sister was Little Fab, and we thought that we just rebooted and started up with Fabz Chat. And also, we're going to have things in between that show off the merchandise both of our households have. Flika, that both of our households have. And we pray that you all be inspired or interested. And if you are interested, you just let us know with a simple text or a comment in the chat. And while we're still getting ready to get this show started, we ask that you all would like, comment, and subscribe. And also, please share it. I'm going to let my sister speak, of course, but this is something that we wanted to be lighthearted. As we've been told, it has been, and something that's just inspirational for our young people, older people alike, just to have a breath of fresh air, some laughing, some smiling, and some sisterly bonding. All right, go ahead, my dear sister.
Toda. Kane, as Princess Amuna, also known as Nasika Amuna, has said, this is something that for those that may have seen, we at one point did a Fab Sisters blog talk. We were talking about gardening. We had like a long running history of Fab Sisters. So to be able to bring it back up, you know, and I definitely want to say like all praises to the Most High for my Ish Shamar and for Aki Gadol, which is my big brother, Nasik Harashi Shama, for encouraging us to want to keep this going and encouraging us to make this a normal thing. So that in itself is a blessing for them to, see what we started with and then be like, no, keep it going. So that encouragement, I feel like it definitely means a lot. For us again to be able to still do Fab Sisters, I mean, I'll say vlog talk, but our Fabz Chat in this time that we are in. So yes, I think that's what I have to share so far.
So that was a beautiful, beautiful introduction. And like she said, we do want to definitely thank the heads of our households, my brother in love, and then of course my Ish for encouraging us and pushing us to do this, because it's one thing to do something, but it's another thing to have your Ish support you and push you to do it because he knows that there's a need for it, or they know that there's a need for it. And we appreciated the feedback, so we said we're going to keep it going. Again, if you have not already, please like, comment, subscribe, or share it. We know there's some people that might be timid, so you don't always have to say something, but just your liking or sharing it contributes to the channel very nicely. So we have a few icebreakers that we're going to do today. I was hoping around this time that we had a little more viewers, so we're going to wait till we get a little more viewers to actually do our icebreaker videos. Our special with this one, you all know that me and my sister love to laugh. If anybody has ever met us in person, separately, or when we've been together, you know that you're going to hear us giggling, and you're going to hear us laughing, and you're just going to hear us doing what bubbly sisters do. And one of those things is we love laughing because you all, in the light of everything that we have gone through, I'm talking about good, I'm talking about bad, collectively, separately. If you do not laugh in this day and time, if you do not find your, as Kung Fu Panda said, inner peace, you will lose your mind, or you will really lose the value of the beauty in life. My Ish always says, my Ish uses this example. He says, if you call a little boy stupid over and over and over, he's eventually going to believe that he's stupid. If we dwell on the negative of life every day, a lot of times we're going to feel like that's all that life has to offer. But life has so much to offer, not just life. I'm going to be more specific. The Supreme King, the Most High, he has so much to offer for us. We just have to take those gifts and those talents and that inspiration that he gives us, and we have to birth it. Like I said, this isn't a session where we'll be quote unquote teaching, but because we are who we are as daughters of the King, there will never be a time we won't mention the greatness and the mercy of the Most High. There's nothing that calls for us not to mention him or to give him praise. So even though we're not teaching, it's a place of righteousness, reverence, and we're just going to keep it very, very real. So we're waiting till we get a few more viewers to come in till we do the icebreaker. But one of the topics that we had for today was possibly what we look forward to in family values, things that we grew up with that we can implement in our own homes, things that we've talked to with our Ish, with our Ishes and Ishes. I'm talking, oh gracious. I'm using the word. So there is not an ES after Ish because it is a Hebrew word. Anashim, I'll put it that way. There are things that we might have talked about, that we're okay with openly expressing to the public, some things that we want to implement in our families. And then we want to talk about some things that we can implement in today's time with such a lack of culture in America. We can't blame the lack of structure in the majority of the people. I know a lot of times we get on the internet and we talk about, oh, these men, they don't not like this, and these women, oh, they're not like that. When if we look at overall why other countries and other nationalities thrive, there's a culture and then there is heritage within that culture that people follow and traditions. And I know a lot of times we act like we don't like traditions, but traditions are very helpful. They don't have to be wicked, quote unquote, wicked traditions, but a tradition is something that's passed down, and it could be helpful. Akoti, do you have anything that you would like to add on to that?
Kane, to that for opening the floor. I just definitely stand in agreement, with everything that you have said. There is a tradition that we have for our home. We're told like in everything to give thanks. So one of the things that my Ish does, we pray before we head out, but for every time we make it back home, before we put groceries away, before we get take our shoes off, before we do anything, we kneel and we give the Most High thanks for allowing us to make it home safely, allowing us to be able to go out and get groceries, for allowing us, even if we just went out, to take out the trash, or if we just went out to do something, we just make it a point that every time we come home, our knees hit the ground and we are giving the Most High thanks and reverence. And that is a beautiful tradition that he has established for our home before I even married him and moved in with him. And so it was like, there are traditions that just say we can have that. It can add to our community. It's things that we can share. And I think being able to understand the difference between a positive tradition and the negative traditions is important, and how we can use traditions to be able to better structure our homes, better structure our communities. And so being able to look at it in a brighter light. So I think that is Tobe, and being able to bring something positive. This statement you were saying that Akigadol or Big Brother uses, where it's like if you speak these things over a person, they'll begin to behave like that. Like negativity is contagious, just like laughter is contagious, positivity is contagious, negativity is contagious. And if all we're feeding ourselves is this, then we're going to begin to behave negatively, even if we don't realize it. And so that's why our goal as the Fab is to be able to contaminate people with laughter and positivity. So you walk around laughing, like no Joker stuff, where you laughing, you don't want to, but being able to spread joy and laughter. And yes, Zehu.
That was beautiful, and for you to bring that out about your Ish, like you say, that is a tradition, you all, that is beautiful, and it is something that contributes to family structure. One that teaches, when they do have children, that those children are going to have a sense of reverence. So I know a lot of times, and I believe it's just because of all the, like my sister said, the negative things that we hear, the negative connotation to traditions has kind of scared a lot of our people and people, period. So when we hear that, and we're, followers of the Supreme King, or, a lot of people recognize themselves as Hebrew Israelites, we use the term Bnei Yisrael. And my Ish he goes further into detail why we rather say Bnei Yisrael, which is children of Israel. And it's like, I get it, but some traditions are needed, you all. We're me and my sister talk about this a lot. We're in a system where we're trying to be set apart while fighting the world's entertainment, on top of fighting other traditions that just seem like there's so much, that they're more captivating than what we have to offer. So we have to go that much harder to make sure that we have things implemented that keep our youth, most importantly, attracted to this. And no, it's not fake, it's not a facade. But in anything, in any religion or any culture I've ever seen, they have things outside of their religious walk that their children do. And we need something like that too. And that was one of the major reasons why my sister and I wanted to do this and continue on with it, because, you can open up Facebook, you can open up Instagram, you can open up TikTok. You can always find something to laugh about. You can always find something that's going to be funny, something that's going to be like, oh, that was a breath of fresh air. And we just wanted to add that to our community. We're not going to say what we do or what we don't have, but I can say we could use a little more sunshine and roses when it comes to just how we portray ourselves, And that was a beautiful tradition that my sister shared. Again, traditions don't have to be they don't have to be negative. And when you hear traditions of men, I mean, hey, that's a tradition that is beautiful and it causes reverence. It doesn't make anybody turn back from the Supreme King. Me and my Ish also have a tradition that we do. And it's when we eat, when we eat dinner, or when we have a meal that I cook, we offer up to the Most High. We give him thanks for this portion. We pray afterwards, but we pray and set a portion aside because we're saying Todah for this, because the Most High is the source and he's the ruler of all. And I know sometimes that sounds cliche, but really he is the source of all. He is the source of all. So we have to give him praise even for what we say, quote unquote, the little things. I don't count eating as a little thing because there are many people who don't eat until days later. There are many people who don't have shelter over their heads unless a shelter opens up and have room. There's not many people who have shoes that they want to wear or that fit them on their feet. So it's like in all things, we are to give thanks. And even in that, you all, adding certain traditions aren't bad. As I go back, there's so many of us that wish we had certain traditions growing up that made us feel like we were actually a part of something. And I know we're like I said, this isn't gonna be something that causes us to be downtrodden or sad, but sometimes when we are talking, we are gonna speak things that we see on a day-to-day basis that we believe could possibly use addressing. It doesn't have to be now, tomorrow, years later, or whatever the case is, but we're gonna address things that we do see and that we think are concerning, especially towards our community. But back to traditions. Traditions are a great thing because I believe more of our so-called Black men and Black women would be in a better place if a lot of our households were more unified, but unified with traditions that helped us, if that makes sense. Um, and in that light, of course, there's other traditions that we know are life-changing traditions that I believe need to be implemented back. But in order for us to do that, there has to be way more things implemented. So I'm not going to even touch that on that today. But we do want to say, if you are tuning in, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you feel so moved to comment. And Kane, so we're going to open up with the icebreaker pretty soon. Let me just make a quick look. We sometimes stream on multiple platforms, and sometimes you can't always keep up with all of them on one thing. So sometimes we have to check backwards and forth. But while I do that, my sister, would you have anything that you'd like to say at this moment?
Kane, toed out to all those that are tuning in thus far. Again, remember to like, to share, subscribe, even if you may have to save it and go back and watch it later. And as Nasika Amuna has said, don't be shy. If you are shy, that is okay. Just leave us either a thumbs up or, one in the chat. Let us know you all are present and enjoying what you hear so far. I look forward to our icebreakers, and I hope you all are enjoying thus far. And yes, I look forward to getting further into it. So I'm excited.
Toda. And yes, so let's see. We have our icebreakers. And our icebreakers for this session, we have videos that we're going to play. And if I laugh, I lose. And I chose 3 videos for my sister. I have a backup one just in case. I chose 3 videos that I thought were extremely funny. So if my sister watches them and laughs, she loses. She chose 3 videos that are funny that I'm going to watch. We're going to do one at a time. And if I laugh, then I lose. Now, you all, I would say if there's ever a time where we have enough viewers where there's teams, I don't know if you should be on my team because it does not take very much for me to laugh. And I definitely mean that. It does not take very much for me to laugh. So yes, we're going to get into that. And then we're going to go back and talk about family core or core family values that we think could be implemented that might, aid our community a little more and what is it, lighten the blow of the reality of life. And what I mean when I say that is lighten the blows, like lighten the distractions, lighten the attacks that we have as a whole, as a community. It might lighten it a little bit. Now, some of those things, I know a lot of people might listen to some of those things that we think would be helpful. If you don't like them, we are all subject to our own opinions, but just being sisters, seeing what we've seen, growing up really close, and then noticing certain things about the young ladies our age, we're going to give those tips and what we think. But of course, this is definitely something that we've seen that is it's gotten really bad, you all. It's gotten really bad. And there are a lot of things that we can do separately as individuals to make things better for us as a whole, because that's where it starts, really. That's where it starts. All right, so I'm going to go to the screen that allows us to present at the same time. Okay, so who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
Uh,
I can go first if you need me to.
yes, you can go first. I want to make sure I'm getting the videos right. I want to make sure with the screen sharing.
Okay, so again, you all, what we're gonna do? I'm gonna share a video, and if she laughs, she loses. If she laughs, she loses. So eventually, when we get more viewers, we're gonna have where there's teams. So you're gonna either be on my team or my sister's team, and if a team loses, when you all purchase a product from House of Fabby Sense, you'll get a free item with it. But that's when we have more viewers, or if you all go back and listen to it. But you probably should do that live. I don't know how that would work if you went back and watched it. Shalom, shalom, Papa.
Shalom, Papa.
All right, so let's go. Let me see.
I'm gonna try and get it. I'm trying to already have a straight face, which is difficult because I'm already smiling. So I'm trying to compose before it starts.
Just because I think this what I'm about to present is gonna be. I want to say I think I have some heavy hitters. I don't know. I don't know if I would say you might be a tough cookie with some of these, but I'm trying to see which one I should do. Okay, so I want one that's gonna catch you off guard. All right, give me a second, you all. I'll mute for a little bit because I don't want it to play.
I feel like I'm already smiling, so I'm trying to get a resting face. All right.
All right, I'm about to share my screen. Oh no, wrong thing. Again, if you all are just coming in, this is the portion with our icebreaker where we see if we can make one another laugh. We chose some videos, and my sister has to keep from laughing. She has to keep from laughing.
Water.
All right, did I click the right one? Okay, yeah, I think this is it. Let's see. All right, can you see a guy with the basketball in there?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Okay, hold on. I need to make sure the screen is big. All right. Hold on, I can't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Did it laugh?
No.
All right, good. So my sister passed the test. She did not laugh. She got really close. Really close. All right,
He
let's see
looked
what
like a
she
titan.
Yes, see, that's what I got. Is I'm like, yeah, that's gonna remind her of AOT.
Phew. Is it my turn?
It sure is.
All right. Let me see. How am I supposed to?
The thing is with those when you pull up Instagram reels and other links, like they start playing automatically unless you pause it. So I would say definitely pull it up and click it real quick so it pauses.
All right. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna do like you did. I'm gonna mute myself real quick because I want to make sure.
Okay, and while she gets that up, you all, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, these are icebreakers, and these are things that we believe were extremely entertaining, not just for you all, but for us as well. And after we get these icebreakers, the first videos down, we're going to talk on another topic, and we have 2 more videos after that. I'm ready for this. I'm going to go ahead and try to get my seriousness on. I feel like I've been smiling. Oh, gracious. Oh, gracious.
Let me see. I'm going to try to make sure I'm going this right.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So I'm going to. All right. Are you ready?
I don't. Okay, it's loading. It's loading. I have to put it up on screen.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to unmute it, and here we go.
I don't know. It's really choppy or it stopped.
It might have paused. All right, let me try it again.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to do better than that. You're gonna have to do better than that. That wasn't, it was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. It was, shalom, 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 shalom. Welcome in. So, welcome into another Fabz Chat. Make sure you get it. Welcome to another Fabz Chat. Right now, we just finished our first icebreaker, and for this icebreaker, this episode, we have picked 3 videos each, and it's like a try not to laugh type of situation. I played 3 videos, we're playing one at a time to see if my sister will laugh. If she laughs, she loses. She has 3 videos. When she plays them, if I laugh, I lose. And with that being said, if you choose a team, and let's just say you're on the team, and if you're on my team and my sister laughs and she loses, if you purchase an item from us or from House of Fabby Sense, you get an item free. All right, you all. So we didn't laugh on either one. So I have some funnier ones than that. I do. But now we're going to get back to the topic. We're talking about core values and even traditions. Sometimes we think of traditions in a bad way. So we're just talking in light of traditions and how when people say traditions of men, it doesn't automatically mean something evil, because every house has traditions, believe it or not. It could be the smallest thing. Like, for example, one of the traditions we had, and I think most families have this, if you reverence the Shabbat, right? So for us, when of course we were together, Fridays were our prep days. That day was, I think, solely for cooking and cleaning, especially for the size family we had. So all day we were cooking and cleaning on that Friday for the Shabbat. That's a tradition that we have. Of course, we know that in our literature it says 6 days you should work, and in some places people reference Friday as day of preparation. But everybody may have a tradition that's different. Some people may wake up super early on the dot. Some people may wait till a certain time. But either way, it's traditions that we think, for us, it was helpful, especially for our big family. So with that being said, you all, one of the traditions that I think should be implemented in our communities, and like you say, with this, it's hard to single it down or narrow it down, because at the end of the day, family is very important. And I believe that the men in the community is one of the most key factors of making sure that we have stability within our communities. Without that, I'm not saying that we don't have stability if it is women that's there. But at the end of the day, when we know the roles and we know how order works, it's very, very important that we have structured men in place. Very, very important. So one of the traditions I think need to be implemented, we need to go back to chaperoning. I think that there should always be a man, a man figure or a leader figure, or even a man and a woman that are always in place if there are young people, especially of the opposite gender. That there should always be a capable and responsible, trustworthy man and woman in place in the midst of young individuals. That's what I think it should be. That's one tradition. What about you, my sister?
Well, Kane, I'll first definitely say that I agree with that, with chaperoning. When Maisha and I were still in our courtship phase and we spent our first Sukkot together, we were chaperoned. So I can agree that we were chaperoned as well as chaperoning while we were there, if that's the real way to say that. Chaperoning. Is that a real word? I don't know. I don't know if I made that up. Chaperoning.
I don't know if that one's a real one.
That's interesting. I think that's a real word. I don't know. It
You
sounds
can use
French.
it until somebody corrects us and say that that's not real.
Besede. But I agree that chaperoning is needed. because again, me and my Ish, in our courtship phase, we were chaperoned. Um, we did chaperone as well for some of the younger individuals when we were doing different activities and things together. So I do believe that that is told when there's safety
Mhm.
in those. Oh, okay. Papa says that's correct. Yay! Told out, Papa. Um, but I agree that that is something that is needed. Is like there is safety and there's protection in that. I believe so.
Mhm.
I agree with that. As being one, I'm trying to think of what other tradition or thing that can be like implemented to be helpful. I'm still thinking on one, but I do agree with one that you shared. Um,
Mhm.
again, just because like I've been able to see how tobe and effective that is when having community or when just being a joined group. That is helpful. So,
Shalom, Kiki. Welcome in.
hey, shalom, shalom. Um, so yes, I've heard of other assemblies or other groups where they do chaperone as well. So I do believe that that is a toe one. Um, I'm trying to think of another one. Mine's kind of going to a blank. Like I say, there's so many. Um, I believe traditions and things that can be implemented. It's like just trying to, like you say, narrow it down to
Mhm.
just like one. But I will say another one. I believe that a tradition that we can have is if we are going shopping as women,
Mhm.
shopping in, I would say a pack, so like a wolf pack, but shopping in a group, shopping in a group. When we would go and do our shoppings together, when it was me and Nasika Muna, our other siblings, and our Horim or our parents. Um, that's something that we would do. We would shop in a bigger group. Um, there is safety in numbers, and then I believe there is just joy in shopping with people. I mean, there are times you may want to shop, by yourself, and that's not saying whatsoever that's a bad thing, but the safety and the numbers, the example that that sets, being able to be accountable, one to another, and then be able to have that community support while going out. So I think another one that can be implemented is being able to shop together. Doing whether it's Shabbat shopping or whether it's just window shopping, being able to do things as a group, I think is, or even if you're just going out to exercise, if you're just going out walking, is being able to have that sense of unity and again connection and surrounding. It's almost similar to chaperoning, but it's just been accountable for
Mhm.
like as a group. So I think that is something that could be implemented and done is going as a group. It's fun and I believe it's safer that way. And then it's enjoyable to be able to laugh as a nice group going and shopping for things. So that's something that I do believe that can be implemented in this time.
I love that. I love that. As my sister said, a lot of times when we shopped as a family, we shopped as a family. And of course, I've had times where I went shopping, with other communities, and it was the ladies shopping, but we had a man either in the car or we had a man close by. It was very beautiful because you have to watch your back regardless, but you're able to do things with a little more ease. And on top of that, you all, I was watching just I think yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday, or the day before yesterday at that night, I was watching that case where those three young ladies had been kidnapped in, was it Ohio? I don't know if it was Ohio, but you remember the interview with the older gentleman and he said the little girl ran into his arms. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Kane.
Yes, that interview. And I was watching it with my Ish and I'm trying to keep from crying because I was like 10 years of those young ladies' lives was taken from them. Of course, I'm grateful they lived and, they're living their lives now, but those are going to be scars mentally, physically that they'll never be able to recover from. You can't just forget certain things. And I told my Ish, I said, one of the things that I see with all of their cases, all three of them were by themselves. They were all very vulnerable. They were in a vulnerable state. One young lady, she was being abused at home. And, for her, I was just like, you know, my heart went out for all of them, but she had the saddest story with them. You know, when they found those young ladies, that young lady, and she was the oldest, she was only 80 pounds when they found her. And that's not a good weight. She was an adult. She should have weighed more than that. And the man that preyed on them, you know, I'm not going to go into any names on here. The man that preyed on them, he saw them by themselves and he asked them, you know, oh, you all know my daughter? Things like that. And then they get in the car with him. And next thing you know, they are shalom, shalom, aim. Next thing you know,
Shalom.
welcome in. Next thing you know, he's kidnapped them. So if they were with a friend, I don't believe he would have had an advantage that he had. So what we're saying is, we're not saying that if you're by yourself, you know, you're worse than an infidel or anything like that. But what we are encouraging is that some traditions really keep us safe, safer than we think, you all. And if you're somebody that don't have male cousins, a father around, a brother around, an uncle that's going to be willing to go, because some people, they're going to be like, I'm not about to go. I'm not about to quote unquote babysit or things like that. It's not about that. It's about the protection. Sometimes a male's presence in itself can intimidate or push people from doing some of the craziest things. You know, there were times we were out, my ish or my father or my brothers, they wouldn't have to say anything. Just their presence there let other people know. They can talk all they want, but they're not going to, as you know, we say, do something. it that keeps it away. Or even if you can't do that and you're just a group of women, you all have extra eyes of what's going on, especially if there are children with you. You know, there are some crazy people out here, you all, and other communities do this. It shouldn't be foreign to us, but it is. So I really love that my sister said that traditions we should implement is group shopping. Even if you know you might not even need any groceries, you know, sometimes us as women, we'll find something that we need. Even if we don't need anything for the house, we're like, we could actually use some extra paper towels. We could actually use some extra dish soap. So that accompaniment, it secures everybody, you know, and in community, in numbers, there is safety. So as my sister said, going to the store in numbers, especially if you're a woman, even if you're going jogging, making sure you have somebody, because a lot of times that's the perfect grounds for you being snatched. You know, you're going to be by yourself jogging. So it's normal to see other people jogging, stopping, breathing. You can easily be cased that way. So having accountability is protection, is safety. And I know a lot of times as women, you know, I see it every day on some type of social media where women aren't, they're expressing their untrustworthiness to males and men. And when I say males, because it's not just men they're talking about, you know, they're talking about males, period. And it's unfortunate, you know, and I'll definitely say without a shadow of a doubt, all men, all males are not like that, just like all females and all women aren't like that, you know. A lot of times we have to sit back, examine ourselves, and sometimes I'll say this, it's the environment that we're in. As children, as young adults, sometimes we literally stay in the environment that we were born in. So with that being said, it's not your fault. It's only your fault if you choose to stay in that situation or surrounding or environment that is detrimental for you. Is it hard finding a community that might be good for you? Yes, but a lot of things that we look at in life are challenges. And the only challenge that can't be overcome is the one that you don't try to fight for. That's the one that you don't try to fight for. So with that being said, our encouragement is that there is accountability out there. There are places that I believe offer that type of unity. But at the same time, you don't even have to be in this walk to do that. You could have a quote unquote, you know, sisterhood, brotherhood, just friendships that you can be accountable with these people for, because you all, I believe this would take the numbers down. I hate pulling up social media and seeing it says young black girl, 15, last seen wearing a hoodie, this out. Like, and my heart is like, why was this baby by herself? You're 14, you're 15. I know you're getting close to young adult, but you're still in school with other children from kindergarten to preschool. And in the US, you're not an adult till I think you're 21 or 22. So you're not a baby, but the fact is you're still developing. You're not ready to be living on your own at 14 and 15, at least not here in America. So it's like why are those little ones by themselves? Why? And that's not to fault the parents, but it is to come to the realization that we need closer structure. And sometimes as women, we may not like it because I can be independent. And all the time, independent doesn't mean that I don't need a man. Because what I'm really starting to see is that some of these families, their fathers and grandfathers taught them to be independent. So a lot of times it's because I can't say why it's because why they taught them that, but I do know a lot of times people are often looking and projecting things that might happen. And then at the same time, with that being said, if you as the grandfathers and fathers aren't picking suitable suitors for your daughters, it is a 50-50 chance of what they might run into out here. And that also depends on how they are, how their attitude is, how they are, with men, how they are with themselves. So all of these are contributing factors that we have to look at. And the reason why I believe it's not so easy to talk about is because at the end of the day, it starts at the head. And then if you don't have a certain headship, it starts with what you're willing to actually what order you're willing to fall into to make sure that you get a better structure for your life. You have anything to add on to that, my sister?
I'm trying to think. I was just really sitting back and enjoying all that you were saying. With that structure, I feel like just another like kind of tradition that comes to mind is one that is looked at and is shunned in other cultures and other like nations in their background, but the tradition of picking suitors is something that will be considered old timey, like courtships is considered like you date nowadays versus having a courtship, and there is a difference. It doesn't mean you can't date in a courtship, but the guidelines, the chaperoning, as you stated earlier, that is going to be all involved in that process. And I believe the tradition of I don't want to get stoned for saying this, but arranged marriages, arranged, like making arrangements for spouses being found, even if it wants to be started, young. We see in other cultures, I'll say one particular culture that we like to watch the shows from.
Yes.
They show, this is something that they do. They will sometimes raise their children from young together, so that it's like they are already being like learned how to be paired with one another. And I think that is something that will help, something that if we look back and certain what we consider, like Black neighborhoods or Black communities, they would do things like that. They did believe in courting. I remember seeing, and I wish I could find it, but it was a vintage picture. I think it was like New York, sometime in like the 1900s, where they had like a beautiful ball being held, and again, it was young, considered young Black women and ball gowns, and the young men were dressed in suits, and they would pair them together to dance, but it wasn't just them dancing together. It was them being, put with the suitor for them and things like that. And so I thought that was beautiful because that is something that, so we have some comments on. I'm gonna try and make this statement quick because I want to see what's being said. That those two special people in the comments. But I do believe that that is something that can be done. And that does need to be done. So it's like that, that stress isn't on children to try and find, a perfect partner, but the parents can be like, no, you work on you, and then we'll find somebody that is able to be compatible with you, so that is a thought I have. So I'm going to say Zehu for now, because again, I would like to see the statement. Slika, you're muted, Amuna.
Wow. Toda. This AIM says, as parents, you can teach your children everything they need to do right. And in the end, a child will and can still do what they choose on their own. And that is the scary side of it sometimes. That is true. That is true. And I think one of the other things is like we have repercussions One of the things that I used to hear people say in the olden days, they were like, don't bring a certain type of person back home, or we'll excommunicate you from the family. That's some of the things that used to be said with certain old school parents, and young people still did it. And when they were excommunicated, they blame the parents for being this and being that. But it's like, when we do put repercussions in place that might seem major and harsh, you're always going to have somebody say, well, that was harsh, but you knew the repercussions for this before it happened. So I do understand that. It's just the next thing you have to do is enforce those repercussions. I mean, depending on what type of scale that is. Um, all right. Then Papa said self sufficiency is important as long as there is proper education on the roles and responsibilities of the men and women, that also being tempered with realistic expectations of both. Kane, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree, especially where he said, as long as there is proper education on the roles and responsibilities, because y'all, there are people, young women, young men in their 30s, and they don't even know what their role would be if they were married. So that's why I said a lot of times I think we have to have more grace with one another, because everybody wasn't raised. A lot of people I ran into were not raised with their father, showing them how to properly do things. And women that weren't raised with their mother, sometimes a lot of them were raising them with love. And as a lot of people say now, they're saying in survival mode. So they weren't teaching them, oh, in the future, you're going to be a wife. A lot of them were teaching, when you grow up, make sure you have your own. You hear that a lot of times. A lot of times. Ahubi says, Nasi Karashi says, great points, Ab and Gaberet Gadola. If I can add to your points, Gaberet Gadola, most times that is because we haven't built a community of people exercising Jeremiah 29, which is building with other families intentionally in covenants, 5 to 15 families. The amount of people are more influential than parents. So we need a bunch of families with children that have our same values to combat. And that's what me and my sister were talking about. Like, it's so much entertainment out here, you all. Like, as far as like on the scale to be realistic, B'nai Yisrael, we need more things that help captivate our children in a righteous way. Children can write stories and things like that, and it can be from their imagination. There has to be things that will help with their creativity. Of course, our literature, our commandments, beautiful. We need that. But in everything, there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. You have something you want to say?
Kane, I wanted to add to the point that Aki Gadol was saying, with the community. It's like one of my favorite books was It Takes a Village to Raise a Child.
Oh, yeah.
What I started saying a lot in recent times, from younger parents with children, is saying that, it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village for the support of the parents, to instill, what was being said from the parents, like, as an example, as an auntie, for any of my nieces and nephews, if something is being enforced by their parents, my whole thought process is just to reinforce what is being stated by the parents, not to be like, well, you do have a choice or an option, outside of what is being said. It's just like, no, that is not going to help. That is not going to really support and back what is being stated by the parents. But parents having that support where it's like, okay, if they tell children, no, you're not going out, at 10:30 at night by yourself, where you're not supposed to be coming back at the house at 10:30 at night, trying to encourage children, well, you young, you free, you should be able to live your life. That is not the type of backing you want, and community. And it's like having that support for parents that's like, okay, they're teaching the literature to the children. They are instilling and enforcing things where it's like, okay, it's like hearing the stories of those that grew up in like a family oriented community. And they're like, if you was out, past the lights being turned on, somebody was going to say, hey, did you know that so-and-so was out up the street with these people? And it's like the community was going to work together to make sure that that child was going to, one, safely get home. And then two, if they needed to get in trouble to get correction, then they was going to make sure that safely, they were in place, to receive that type of correction. And so I believe it does take that. It takes a village and it takes a community and supporting the parents and supporting, being like making sure that they feel like they are being backed, and like vice versa, them as parents to another set of parents, like no, helping again to instill that which is told and righteous and stand on the path. So, Zehu.
Kane. No, I mean we have some more comments. It's work. It is a lot of work. And one of the things that I look at when I look at what we talk about, it says, I think in Proverbs, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains the favor of the Supreme King of the Most High. That goes for, I believe, anything that takes work that is of value. It takes work. It said he that finds. I'm just attributing that to the state of mind that I see a lot of our men and women in today. They feel like everything is microwave and everything is going to be easy. I'm not saying that's how they all think, but like, yeah, it really does take a lot. So we're going to look at some of these comments. Let's see. Shalom, Princess Medaya. She says, great topic. Yes, so many women in the 80s taught independent thinking and living. Fathers, righteous, positive, loving, are a must in the home, especially with daughters. That is very true. And with a community and within family, make sure your children are safe, Kane. Yes, instilling discipline is very important. Oh, it's very important. There was a time, when schools reported the children's behavior. Hey, please don't tell my mama. Please don't tell my daddy. Oh, I remember hearing that. Please, but nope, they gonna know. You gonna get it. That fear, that reverence, it was there. Most of us as parents don't have enough supporting families with children and understanding the importance of community structure and living as close as we can to our biblical culture. So live life in addition to that, implement safety, but also fun so they don't get turned off. But this is just my thoughts. Great discussion, everyone. Kane, Toda, everyone. We appreciate everyone's feedback because it is definitely needed. I believe that some of these conversations will be archived and there'll be some infrastructure for some individuals to be like, okay, this is what we need to do. Like, we do have to use wisdom, you all, because I look at on the scale of entertainment, then I look in our communities, like, what do we have that's entertainment? I look at the category of so-called Black movies or shows, all of it, not all of it, 90% of it is in the hood, dealing with drugs, some type of prostitution, ghettos. It's never like the fantasy type of like Lord of the Rings. There's so many genres, of what's appealing. And that's why as young people, even adolescents, teens on up, it's attractive what they have to offer, because even in their fantasy, they get an escape. With us, our fantasy is still reality for us. And that's it makes being what people say so-called Black, when you're ignorant, it can make it seem unappealing. So we do have to work better and we have to work harder at this. And I always say, if not for our generation, then the little people, because what we're getting, I feel like in time, they're going to get it worse than we do. Everything is always evolving for the better and for the worse. All right. So we are almost an hour in. We are going to take a little light break, you all, and we're going to do our icebreakers again. And after our icebreaker, my sister will pick up because it looks like she has something to say. Pick up. So again, please choose a team. We're going to show each other a video that we have chosen purposely to make each other laugh. If she laughs, she loses. If I laugh, I lose. So who's going to go first?
I can go first this time.
Okay.
Since you went first the last time. So I'm going to mute it while I find the video and get it pulled up and situated. I want to accidentally share it too soon.
Understood. So while she does that, we ask that you all, if this conversation is moving, it's motivational, we ask, and it's inspirational, we ask that you would like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. And we ask that you would share it to someone you think is going to be helpful too. Again, in this, we try to make sure that we can laugh, that we can have fun while we do this, while tackling some very interesting topics. And we're talking about core values and traditions that can be implemented in our communities or small, whether it's a small community, your immediate families, that might be able to help the next generation. Um, I know that we don't exist solely off of internet comments, but you all, the internet comments are sometimes so very disheartening. But at the same time, we can't put each other in a box because we have to realize that some people are just a product of their environment. And then, as parents, future parents, it is in us to do what we need to do to make sure that the next generation gets what they need. All right, are you ready? While she's still doing that, I'll bring up some comments while she's still getting herself together. Aim says, Kane, I remember growing up, the whole neighborhood was the family, and there was no getting away with anything. Everyone knew my mother's core values and held me to them if they seen me acting up. I know that's right. Toe.
Okay, I think I'm ready. I hope this makes you laugh like it made me laugh.
So this is the part again, you all, where we pull up a video to see if we can make one another laugh. Let's see what you got. Y'all, it takes really, you have to share your screen and then I have to bring you up.
Okay.
And if you ever think about considering a team, I'm not saying don't be on my team, but just know it does not take much for me to laugh. It doesn't take much. All right. And Toda. She said, great discussion, Banot. Toda.
I'm trying to make sure I can. Was it playing just now?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay. I'm trying to look. This technology, we need to help you youngins so how to utilize it. So
Not to help you youngins.
Because I feel like it's already playing and I don't know. Okay. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to. All right, let me see. I'm hoping. I don't know how to
start it over. I couldn't start it over. I had to literally exit out the whole thing and then click on it again.
Okay, so then I'm sorry. I'm trying.
It's going to take time. But yes, y'all, we hope you are enjoying this segment. What we are striving to do is make sure that we can still get a laugh, get some entertainment out of it, and then when it is time to chat it up on things that need to be spoken about, and even things that we believe that as soon as today you can implement if you're not implementing them, and even share some things that your family might do that might be helpful. All right.
I think I'm ready now.
Okay. I'm waiting on you. All right. Let me get my serious face together. The last one was a 1 out of 10.
All right, let's see if this one again. There isn't a way to block some of the comments on the side. So if there's foul language up there, please forgive and excuse it. All right, but let's see.
I'm ready. That was a 2 out of 10. Let me show you what I'm working with. Okay, let's see. I need to get I had to go in. Let's see. All right. This is the one I'm going to choose. I'm going to mute it so you don't accidentally hear it.
Alrighty.
And you can talk if you can talk a little while I get that together.
Alrighty. Tope. So I'm gonna let y'all know the one with the Chihuahua definitely made me laugh. So that was kind of my comedy. That was on my humor lane. The little silly Chihuahuas, they be cute and they be chaotic. But the dog getting scared, I think, really made me laugh. So that's probably why it was more so funny to me, because the dog getting scared by the Chihuahua. That was hilarious to me. But all right, let's see what Nasika Amuna has. Let's see if she can make me laugh.
All right, this is gonna be funny. Let's see, here we go. And if y'all think these are funny, please let us know. and you can rate them if you want. You can say they're like a 1 out of 10 or a 0 if you want. Oh, it's already up there. It's a good thing I had waited. All right, I'm gonna mute it while it plays.
I can't hear it.
Can you see it though?
I can see it. I don't know when you had to mute it if that kind of took the sound away as well, but I didn't hear it. I
Okay,
just
hold on. Oh man, see the momentum slowed down. Hold on. I know for sure that one made me laugh, and it still made me laugh. All right. I don't know why I did that. I have to hurry up. So for this one, it doesn't really even have any sound. It just has music playing. Is that all right?
that's fine. I don't know if the music basically
Okay.
adds to the humor of it.
I don't know. That's kind of I don't know. I feel like it might.
It doesn't.
All right. Oh, I have to have my sound on. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear this. Why is there no sound?
I will not judge. Say before I
Okay.
No laughing.
No laughing.
Okay, I see. I see. I know next time I'll have to go a little harder.
Same.
When I first saw this one, I cracked up because I was like, why is his face like that? Like the comment section too. All right, so that was part 2. Nobody laughed. Okay, but I think for the last one, I'm gonna get you. I think the last one I'll get you.
I feel like I'm trying to decide for the last one, but I think I have it. I don't know. It made me laugh, so maybe that's why because I'm going off of kind of what I'll be laughing at. I know we laugh at the same thing sometimes, but like as far as making each other laugh, like I know that can tend to be different triggers, like that make us laugh. So yeah, I have to go a little harder next time. Might have to dig into some archives. I don't know. I have to see.
All right, so you can go ahead and take up from what we were talking last.
Of course.
Or we can come up with another topic within core values and foundations.
There was a thought that I had, but watching the videos kind of threw my thought away. Let's see another one that we can talk on. Entertainment. Okay, I remember. I had to remember. I'm like, okay, it was a thought. But just kind of going back, one of the things that me and my Ish did one night is we went. It was I think it was after we finished the Hobbit series. Watched every last movie, not in one day, but we watched it in like a course of days, and we enjoyed how adventurous, the Hobbit movie was. I'll say the Hobbit collection. And we just one night went and looked up, what we considered, Black fantasy movies. And when I tell you we laughed, like not making fun of the movies and not making fun, but we laughed at the thought process of how the videos that or the movies that came up and the time frame, you all, of the movies and the movies, like what the movies were that was considered fantasy, like genre, like it was nothing like Robin Hood. It was nothing like The Lord of the Rings. It was nothing like Narnia. It was, I don't know if I'll say the movies, but I would just say it was a collection of movies to where it's like, wow, we really don't have this level of entertainment. Not even just in what we consider like, the woke community or what we consider like, B'nai Israel, like not even counting that our group, just looking at again what we consider like a fantasy movie with Black people in it, we didn't find it. And so it's like when looking at entertainment, again, it has to be salt kind of on the outside. And that's why I wanted to make sure that when we did the pop-up shop, that I did showcase Maisha's work, to show his entertainment. Like, I will even just share just like some of the Fab Sisters history. Like, I still have somewhere tucked away some of the comic books that Nasika Amuna did when we were younger. And we were like elementary school and middle school. Like, that was stuff that we did, making like, characters and wanting to do things. Like, in one of the statements that Aki Gadol has said was wanting for it to be safe and protection without it seeming like it's overbearing. And I feel like that having that balance between protection and still fun and enjoyable, to where it's like it's understood, okay, we know why we want to stay in the safe, guard and the safe range of people that are concerned about us. It's because they don't want anything to happen to us. But at the same time, still being able to again have that fun entertainment, being able to have that enjoyment and things like that. And so that's why, again, with Maisha's work, like, this wouldn't be considered something that I want to make sure how do I put this? Like, this is entertainment, this is creativity without it having to seem like, again, I want to word this without it sounding, kind of harsh, without it being, as we said last time, Bible thumping. And being in the scriptures, I believe, is a very important thing, and it is very vital to our lives. But so is living the scriptures. Having it to where we show, the enjoyment, we show the creativity, whether it's, through singing, or whether it's through making music, or whether it's through the creativity of artwork, and even like the abstract art that Nasika Muna showed last week, or making jewelry, making oils and making these different things. Like, this is a positive way of expression. Having like Yeladim, that art, they like to do things with their hands, whether it's sculpting, or whether it's painting, or whether it's like doing hair, different things like that. Being able to encourage them in these gifts. There are gifts that I believe, our forefathers and our foremothers had, and it's like you want to keep that gift, sharp. It's like you want to utilize it, you want to encourage and inspire and really show, what your hands are able to do. So I want to bring this picture forward because I want to show the detail. This is a drawing and a painting from Aish Shashamar. And, I know, it's an interesting look, but I feel like it's really creative. But
did you know that the eyes move when you move it around? I'm sorry. I just have to say that. The eyes move when you move it around. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
I figured it did. It's like, ooh, he's looking around, but this is the creativity of his hand, and like, this is, I don't want to say it's like it's just a picture, but something that I encourage him with is like, okay, if you can do this, imagine those that have to do like the mapping out, or maybe like the landscaping for, a temple or a structure. So it's like your hand had to know how to do the measurements, it had to do these things. And so being able to express and be able to show one's gifts and talents, in this way, I think that's a gift that, we can be encouraged in. So that. Being able to express ourselves in this way, again, is, I think it's important because, like we say, we are in competition, with the world. It's like, okay, if you had to choose between, what is the act of moving it around? Oh, so like what gives it like the effect, like he's looking around? I believe it's actually the material that he used for the eyes. It's almost like you can consider it like 3D, like a 3D painting. Like, so if I turn it to the side, this is what the eyes are like. So it's like a 3D image. So it's the combination of the paint and just the different styles that he used that make it like it's popping. Like, that's to say, like, his stuff, when I would describe it, like it's like it's popping, right? Like it's jumping off the painting, jumping off the picture. And so I put him. So I nicknamed him Old Buddy. He does have a name. But I nicknamed him Old Buddy because when I first saw it, I was like, wow. It was just like jumping out. So but yeah, it's like that creativity is a gift, and I believe that we can use it for righteous entertainment. As we say, Nasika Muna has what she say, doing things in a holy way, because that's the only way. It's like that's the only way, we will be doing things again, even if it's just something like this is a character, that he's designed. This is like a personal one, from like stories and things like that. Being able to like share and have a way of entertainment where it's gonna make us feel like, well, we don't have to go out to everybody else to enjoy these things. And then it's like, if we do, it's not because we're being pushed or we have to. It could be just because there might be a song that's liked, or it can be a movie or something that's liked or enjoyed, but it not be because it's like, well, we don't have any entertainment. They say all we're doing is being told what to do and what not to do, laws and things like that. Of course, that's how we govern. That's how we're to govern our lives. But knowing that there is, we can enjoy. And I do believe that the Supreme King wants us to enjoy life. Doesn't want it to seem like we're being held by ball and chain in the life that we're living, because it's like, it'll be no different than living in Egypt, and so being able to, even like you said, being able to enjoy life. Nasika Muna said it earlier in the live, being able to enjoy life and live. And yes, survival instinct is important, but without feeling like, okay, all we're doing is going off of survival, and it's like everything is misery and everything. It's like, I feel like we deal with enough of pain and misery towards that. We know it exists. We know it's there. But I think people knowing that there is still sunshine through the rain, that there is still joy in the rain. When it's warm, I enjoy playing in the rain. I don't know about anybody else, but when it's raining, like, I'll be having to get told, like, like, Mariam, get yourself inside because it's raining. I'll be out there barefoot, y'all, with my hair just flowing in the rain and enjoying myself. But again, being able to bring, that joy and that laughter, and again, that entertainment, like, it's stuff that is enjoyable. And it's like, and it's also therapeutic. I believe that, when healing as a nation, is that we will need things that are therapeutic. There's a lot that many of us are healing from. And so it's like, seeing things that's always like misery and woe is not very, it's not helpful. If it's things like all is hopeless, like that's not a positive state to be in. And so being able to feed and, to fuel off of positivity, being able to share, being able to laugh, instead of crying, being able to, and if we are crying, it's because we're laughing so hard that tears are literally rolling out of our faces. Like, that should be a thing. Because it is. It's like, I'm pretty sure if many would choose between feeling heartbroken or feeling sad and being able to laugh the majority of the time, we would want to laugh. I would hope we would want to laugh the majority of the time. So that's why I feel like these times are important. And again, being able to express and show the creativity. So I feel like I am a professional art admirer. I am not an artist, but I can admire it very professionally. So
Goodness.
I enjoy art. So but yeah, it's been able to bring that, enjoyable entertainment, and yeah, been able to just kind of give, kind of a reminder, we are alive, we are well, and we can laugh, we can enjoy, and we can bring that hope and that joy to one another, because I know I don't be wanting to always be frustrated. I'd be like, I would rather not be on social media, either playing Squid Game, Fortnite, or watching some videos, that make me laugh. But it's like, no, we can, if we can provide that type of, that same laughter, that same encouragement in our community, then being able to do that, it's like, okay, you know what, I'm laughing today. Why don't we just share some laughter with everybody else? Share some joy, sprinkles of joy, like joy fairies.
Joy fairies. That's
joy fairies.
That's a funny one. I agree what she said. Like you all, we're up against so many things, and it's not even coming from the point now where we're just trying to combat it. We're just trying to make sure we have something within the roster. Like, what do we have that we can pull out and be like, oh, let's do this or let's do that. So it's just being able to do those things. Of course, the competing mindset comes in, because when you look at it, media, economics, all that is about competing against brands and things like that. But when we're in this walk, like, It should be more things that we have to offer. One of the things that I remember, speaking of art, when I lived in Georgia and the school that we teach for, GHA, and the principal for that school is here, Princess Medaya. We went on a educational excursion and we went to an art museum, and I had fun. It was quiet, but I had fun because it was so much unique art there. It was so many pieces that I was just like, how did they come up with this? It was beautiful. And I feel like our brain needs that creative side. Like you all, the Most High is the greatest artist. And I say that because we have so many people with so many different features and looks, and we'll say, oh, that person is beautiful. Well, the Most High is the creator of this. He structured our noses, eyes, and faces and placement. And then better look outside, look at the trees, look at during the autumn times how the trees just have this beautiful, they're already earthy, but earthy tone. And I remember when me and my Ish were on our way back to South Carolina from Illinois, I took pictures and videos. I was in awe, even though the snow was dangerous for us to travel in. I have just pictures and videos. I was like, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Beautiful, dangerous things I've ever seen. But it was beautiful, you all. I was like, and people take these images and then they paint it. So in order for us to even admire art, we are admiring the very original artist, which is the Supreme King, the Most High. So we're not saying this trying to, and make light of the Torah or make light of the literature. We're not trying to make light of it at all, because it is very important. But it's also important how we are reflections of that. We're merely a reflection of what the Most High has given us. And if we're a bad reflection of it, then we're not doing our job. And with that being said, it's so much that we could do. It's so much that we can do and so much we have to offer. And the traditions and structures and values that we can add in family, they're, I don't want to say limitless, but with as many beautiful ideas as we have as individuals, it's so much that we can offer as a people. So much. Don't ever believe that we don't have much to offer. That is a mindset that we have to get out of, especially if we want better for the future of our little ones. There was a question that I was going to pose to the audience and pose to you, but it slipped my mind. Hopefully it will come back to me. Hopefully it will come back. But yes. Did you have anything you wanted to say, add, or another topic?
Kane, just on the topic, like I feel like further on, like you say, the beauty and admiring the art and knowing who the artist is, the Supreme King. So I had the same thought process. Like it snowed here a couple weeks ago, in Virginia, and the roads were icy, of course, but it was so beautiful. And it's like there is, when it snows, for those that have experienced the snow, like have you ever just stood out and just heard how it's just like a calm, like breathing sound in the snow? I was like, oh, it's so cold, but it's so beautiful. Like it literally gets to the point, in the seasons where the sky is like, well, I'm not going to rain. I'm going to send the softest little snowflakes that I can. And they are just going to position them, themselves and make just such a beautiful setting. Even just admiring the beauty of the water. We have bridges here that we cross that are not my favorite, but I just always make it a point when we're crossing those bridges to like look out at all that water. And I'm like, googly moogly, that's a lot of water. But I'm like, Mosa, like you place the water here, say, its purpose, that what lives there. You made it suitable for, creatures to live here, or as long as people are getting the clean things out of it, for people to be able to like dwell, and get things from it. So I was like, I just admire it. And when the sun like glimmers off of the water, it's just like, wow, like this is what the Most High made. And it is marvelous, in our eyes, that we just sit and admire it. And I'm just like, this is beautiful, So my hope and desire is that when we do things that are entertaining, when we do things that are righteously creative, that the Most High looks and be like, wow, I gave them these gifts. I gave them these talents and things, and they are taking it and utilizing it in a beautiful way. I'll even use the example. I was inspired. I don't remember. I forget what month it was or what time of year was the last time I posted a singing video. I saw my sister Nasika Amuna and I saw Aki Gadol. They posted themselves singing, and I was like, you know what? I be always complaining about why is it when singers, have like Instagrams and them Facebooks, they don't post themselves singing. I had to go look on my own page and was like, when was the last time I posted singing? And so I listened to them and I was like, goodness, I'm like, no, it was inspiring, So like the past couple of days, I've been listening to songs. I'm like, okay, I want to sing. I want to take this gift and utilize it. And I'm grateful to the Most High for the inspiration, that is around. And it's like again, whether it's singing or whether it's just music or whether it's art, like again, this is a way of expression and emotion. And like we see many of our forefathers and foremothers that had, they were musicians, I would believe that they were artists, they might have even been animal tamers, if you have a zoo, you have to know how to handle the animals, right? So I think that's a very entertaining thought, and it's an enjoyable idea to be like, hey, let's bring some type of entertainment to people. In hopes, I would say that it encourages those that have the ability, whether you are a graphic designer, if you're an artist, if you have ways that you can do things and create and be able to entertain, and then be able to express yourself. I believe that is a beautiful way that, again, you may never know who needs that type of encouragement, whether it's a song that's been sung, whether it's something that is comical. I love laughing. I love to laugh. And like seeing people that have dedicated their, social media accounts, yes, to encouragement, and they'll post scripture, but also being able to share things on like the comical side. Like, again, I would rather wake up and go on my Instagram and see something that makes me crack up laughing, versus going there to see something that is just like, dang, this is really sad. And again, not because it's like we're trying to pretend like it's not happening, but I'm pretty sure we all experience enough on our daily lives, and maybe every other week or so we experience things that remind us like, yeah, no, being sad is a thing, experiencing hardships is a thing. Being able to experience that joy is definitely important, because again, it's like you never know who could be on the verge of feeling hopeless, and maybe a laugh can boost them. Maybe a silly song or something, will make them laugh and remind them that as long as we have breath in our bodies, there is hope for life. There's hope to laugh. And so again, that I feel like that joy is needed. Or if you just need inspiration on how to find some joy, find shalom, try singing, find a song like karaoke. I think we could do some karaoke night on here, find different songs and give them to each other to sing,
My goodness.
Karaoke, painting, drawing, coloring, different things again that can, express, and not just express, but help you to like to keep your mind working and moving, but in a way that is healthy. And I feel like for me, a lot of it does come from like thinking about like teaching as a health and PE educator. I start thinking about it like from like the spiritual as well as from the physical, teaching about mental wellness, emotional wellness, the physical as well as the spiritual. And like, it's a balance, I feel like that if we don't really pay attention to anything else, it's like our lives do need that balance. We need that balance of, the joy and the laughter. We'll have that balance of expressing our emotions through tears, but we really do need that healthy balance, because it's like, if not, we already know what happens with scales when there's an imbalance. It's going to tip and eventually fling something that turns into a catapult instead of a scale. So, yes, I feel like I could go on and on about it, but we need that balance. I mean, we see for like the hosting channel, House of Balance, like we need that balance, I believe, in every area of our lives. And so,
okay, that brings me to the question to you and those that are listening, those that might come back to listen, because I remember for the so-called Black community, this topic was, I think it's gotten better now, but it was shunned. Do we believe that whether you are quote unquote in a religion or even in this way of life, that therapy is needed. Is therapy something that individuals believe is necessary for our community? I have an answer, but I am very curious to see, because when we talk about implementing traditions and we're talking about going forward and being healed and implementing certain things, some people have PTSD from what they've gone through as children, and we can see that I'm telling you, when I see some of these comments, I'm like, you have to be a bot, because there's no way in the world that was your response on this open world wide web for everybody to see. So with that being said, it's like, do we think that therapy is needed? I have an answer. Um, but I want to see, do we think that therapy is needed? I'll save my answer for last.
I can answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to say Kane. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And reason being is because oftentimes what is not, I feel like, expressed or um, released is going to build up. I'm going to just quote something from Tarzan. Do you remember when Tantor the elephant was talking to, I know it's funny, right? When he was talking to Turk,
Yeah.
and he said, "I've had it with your emotional constipation." He said she was emotionally constipated, and
Oh
it's like
my
not to
God.
make, not to make light of how people feel, but
Yeah.
I do believe that that is a real thing. Like, to be emotionally backed up and so full
Mm.
that if you have not released it, like we already know, if you are dealing with physical constipation, that becomes life threatening.
Yeah.
That becomes life threatening. And so, if you don't have anything that allows you to be emotionally regulated, it's going to get backed up, and either you are going to finally let things out, but in the most damaging way possible on people,
Mm-hmm.
or you might internalize it so much so that it starts to become like a health issue.
Yeah.
You find a way to release, but it might not be you openly letting things out. It might be you taking things in, and that can be substances.
Yeah.
And so I do believe, even just from personal experiences, that having some type of therapy, even if like your therapists are not, people that you might go and sit and talk to on the couch, it could be people that you trust, people that are family. Having some type of therapeutic, I believe even family sessions is needed, again, because
Mm-hmm.
um, I would even just think about Frozen. And I was watching it, I think, like last week or so. Don't judge me. I was watching it last week. And one of the things, that Elsa was told was to conceal it, don't feel it. And we see what
Yeah.
that was for. And I believe that was a powerful representation for, if we don't know how to healthily express our emotions and ourselves, we can hurt those around us. And whether it's through our words, whether it's through our actions, whether it's through pushing people away, that can be really painful. That can be really harmful, and it can like burn bridges that could really be helpful and beneficial to our well-being, our emotional well-being, environmental well-being, spiritual well-being, to where when you need people, if you've pushed so many away, you'll end up just being an island. And so I do believe having that way of expression is important. Um, Again, just through personal experiences, I do believe that's important, because once you let it build up and you do go to let it out, sometimes it really doesn't feel all that good to have to just try and let out so much at one time. Because again, having all that pent up and
Yeah.
like built up, like once you again go to try to like express, it can be too much at one time,
That
and it
is.
can be overloading. So I say absolutely. I see there's a comment, so I'm going to yield on that because I was just
So, Papa says therapy is absolutely necessary and beneficial, although often frowned upon, whether it comes from a professional like your Aunt Tanya, more from a peer or a leader who is familiar. Remain unbiased. Kane. Kane. Let me read that last part again. Although often frowned upon, whether it comes from a professional like your Aunt Tanya, more from a peer or leader who is familiar. Oh, remain unbiased. Yeah, you have to remain unbiased when that therapy is going on. So I would definitely say yes. As you all probably know, that was where I was leaning. Yes, therapy is needed. My sister brought the perfect examples up. She said emotional constipation, goodness gracious, and conceal it, don't feel it. And then, as watching that when you get older, you're like, no wonder, conceal it, don't feel it. And we all know what that leads up to, pressure. And then, like I say, you're taking things out generationally that you went or when you were in your childhood, you're taking that on people that might actually mean you well. But at this moment, you cannot tap into they are caring for you because you're still trying to channel all these emotions. So therapy is needed in our community, and therapy is like needed for like 90% of the people that I see on Facebook with these destructive comments, because it's like if you all talk to people like that in person, it's a surprise you all are not, somebody hasn't come, for your face. Like it's dangerous out here. Seriously, like a lot of people will use the internet because they know in person, if they said some of these things as we've seen, it would cause war. Like we were saying earlier, this means war. But therapy, therapy is needed because you have to be able to heal and even gradually get there. Now, the question is like, well, how do we get that? There are, to my knowledge, even in this walk, Israelite brothers and sisters that have a profession in family. What is that profession called? I'm sorry, you all my thoughts. What is that profession called? A therapist. Family therapy. So there are therapists, I believe, that are even in this walk where there's family therapy, one-on-one therapy. So it's not like that it doesn't exist. Again, when you want something and you need something, just like he who finds a wife finds a good thing, you have to look for it and you have to fight for it. Anything worth having that is needed is worth fighting for. You can't stop. People don't stop when they want their house. People don't stop when they want that car, even if it's not their dream car, a car to get around. They don't stop when they want that job. They don't stop when they want that man, especially, or if they want that woman. So don't stop with the things that are very important for your health, mental, physical, or spiritual. Those are very needed. So I think that therapy is something that's needed. Family therapy sessions are important. And but I definitely believe so, like more professional therapeutic sessions, just because that person is trained to handle certain things. With family, you're going to have therapy sessions, but the outcome is not going to be most likely not going to be the same when you're talking to a therapist. That therapist might be able to take a situation, calm you down to be able to take something to family, as you take something to family, and that might turn out to an all-out brawl. So of course that still remains on the maturity and the level of the family, but I do believe that this is a profession that is needed within our community, because you have to be trained to take in all that stuff. Because I'm talking about, that's a lot to get that from multiple people, especially within a day or within a week. You're hearing stories and you're hearing hurt from people. So I think it's needed. I think that it is needed because I see a lot of people, they can't even get the thought of a family structure down because they're too busy thinking about, well, this is what I grew up with and I had to make my own way. But that's not the only way. If we all have that mindset, we'd be in a lot of trouble, which is why people are saying they're using the quote modern women and modern men. That's why we're really getting more separated and divided by the year, because that mindset, no healing. And then if you do heal, you're coming in contact with so many unhealed people that want to go ahead and move on in their current state. It's like, no, like that Michael Jordan commercial. Stop, get some help. Because we it shouldn't be a shame for you to say, no, I need help. And before you've had a mental breakdown, no, stop, get some help. And then I believe the more we have it in the community, the more I feel like if you have enough clients and this is your business, you'll be able to set your prices to realistic standards. You know, I'm not sure what those prices are when it comes to therapy, but I think it is important and I think it's needed in our community. And with that, you all, we have come to the time of our closure. We're going to close this out with one more funny video to see if we can make each other laugh, and then we will be back the following Wednesday. We hope that this has been great for you all and that it has been a breath of fresh air. We also hope you got something out of it that you can run with and you might be able to cultivate it more and bring it in as a tradition with your family. So I'm going to take us back to our presentation screen so we can do this, and then we will close out.
I think I did the start video.
Okay. Oh, I have one more for you. I'm really hoping that this one gets you. So I'm going to go ahead and mute.
Okay. And then after she does hers, I'll have one more to do, and hopefully it'll make her laugh. If not, I'm going to have to come next time with some other heavy hitters. Again, I might have to go to the archives for some stuff to make her laugh. So it's stuff I chose stuff that made me laugh that I thought would make her laugh, and I was trying to choose something that I didn't already send to her. So that was also difficult because if we find something funny, then it's like we're gonna send it to each other. So having to find things. All right, I'm gonna try to already be ready because I'm not liking what I'm seeing so far.
You're talking about the yeah. Okay, I'm about to go ahead and play. Please let me know, and I'll stop it if it's not playing smoothly.
Okay.
I keep forgetting where that screen is. So, what did you think?
I feel like that one was closer than the other ones. That was definitely closer than the other ones because those faces, it was closer than the other ones, but still no giggles, still no laugh, just a hard smile.
Okay. So let's see what you got for me.
All right. Let me see. I'm gonna go on mute now.
Okay. All right. While my sister gets that one pulled up, this is the last video for today, you all. We encourage you all to come back, and your feedback is definitely interesting and is definitely needed. Again, we're hoping that this inspires someone. Just let me know when you're ready. When I was 11 years old, I remember one of the things that I said, it was a prayer. I said, I would love to inspire every life that I come across, everyone that is involved in my life. I pray that I'm able to inspire them in some way. And in certain ways, the Most High shown me, that prayer or that desire wasn't in vain. I've in my years, younger years and older years, I've had people tell me, you inspire me. And I was like, I don't even think about myself. I'm like, Most High, that's what I asked for when I was 11. I don't forget it because that was very meaningful to me. That was very meaningful. I was aware that there were a lot of people in bad situations, and there were people that needed inspiration, and not just people that were in bad situations, but people that just live in life but might need a little more spark. And that's what I definitely prayed for. All right, seems like you're ready.
I am ready. So let me see it. I hope this makes you laugh.
Let's put my serious face on. I don't think so. Oh, hold on. Let me bring it up.
Ready?
What does that say?
Dressing up as Mike Wazowski for my cat.
Oh, gracious. It was close. When I seen that cat, that cat was like, "Yeah, no, this is not for me." That cat already knew. That cat acts like us in a horror movie. He suspected danger, or she suspected danger. And it was close. It was close. Good gracious. That Gandalf one though, that one had me. I got to think more like the next one. I was getting things that made me laugh. So next time I'll look. I'm like, no, I need to see what would Yasmin laugh at.
Oh goodness.
For watching, we pray that you will tune in for the next one. We hope that something was said that moved you. I'm gonna let my sister close out with the last few remarks, and then we're gonna close out.
King Toda. Again, Toda for joining us, you all. Even if you might see it later on, I pray you've seen something that made you laugh, something that was thought-provoking, but beneficially thought-provoking, and it was very helpful. I laughed. I find it to be very enjoyable, very therapeutic. One, because it's that we're able to do something for our community, something bringing, again, positivity, laughter, joy, and then it's something we're able to do together. My sister is still definitely one of my best friends. So being able to, grow together in this walk and be able to grow together in our different, lives as, again, I was going to say newlyweds, but as, wedded women, but still being able to be encouraged by our husbands to continue, in this, with the Fab sisters, with our Fab Chat. I am grateful to the Creator for this opportunity, to all those that are able to be encouraged and inspired. And again, I pray that, the art that you see, I pray that the products you see from House of Fabulous, is encouraging, and it's something that you all would desire to be able to get. And I pray that it is encouraging and inspiring, because I feel it's encouraging and inspiring to me. And it's an honor, to be able to share the stage, to be up here with House of Balance. It's enjoyable, so I pray again that it's enjoyable to everyone else. And yes, I'm enjoying it thus far, and hope you all continue to join us as we continue with our fan sessions. So.
Okay, Toda, and we love you too. She said, "Go ahead, Fab sisters." Toda Rabah and Toda. We try to keep it fashionable. We try. So again, you all have a great rest of your night, and don't forget to tune in tonight. I believe at 8:00. I believe not 8:30, but I think at 8:00. My Ish Nasi Karashi. And then the Honorable Chief Prince will be going live for Sage Talk. So y'all make sure y'all tune in. Some very powerful information. So we come in and bring on the lighter side, and they're going to come in. Of course, they're still going to be who they are, but this information that they have is needed. A false balance is an abomination. So they come in and bring that, the heavy hitters, and we definitely need that. Again, as I say this, we as women, it's not supposed to be whatever they can do, I can do better. We complement one another in our roles, as was since the beginning. And with that, I yield. Shalom lekulam. You all have a great night.
Shalom lekulam. Laila Tov.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I see a dream, that dream is green. And I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man. As we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights. As we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the
I
sake
see
of us.
my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more feeling, telling me and beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I wasn't part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. Oh, and if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand, a monument. We the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my